Hello and welcome to Achieve Hartford's Education Update. I'm Nyesha McCauley, and joining me, as always, when we bring you these updates is Paul Holzer.
Thank you. Good to be here. Thanks, Nyesha. Very happy to provide another update to the community. And I'll let you kick us off. What are we talking about?
We are talking about two important issues today. So it is Monday, April 7th, and I just always like to start with that dateline because it's very important to just where we are in our update. And particularly when we're talking about Clark School and all that's been happening at Clark. Last time we were here, we brought you some information about where Clark, the transition that has been happening at Clark with parents looking at different school models and wanting to make sure that they are involved in the process of the turnaround that has been set in motion at Clark. So as of just last Friday, parents who have been really involved in this process held a press conference on the steps of Clark School, talking about what they now want to see happen at Clark.
Oh yeah, it was 2 Fridays ago. Right.
Yeah, was it 2 Fridays ago?
2 Fridays ago, yeah.
Wow, it seems like it was just this past Friday.
Nope.
2 Fridays ago. Okay, well I know just this past Wednesday, the same parents were up at the Capitol at the state building.
State Department of Education building.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Testifying at the state's education meeting.
Yeah, and while they were, I think that meeting was mostly about 4 charter schools, and that's fine for those cities. In Hartford, it's about Clark, and yeah, there were 4 parents that were there providing testimony on what I think they want the state, basically what they want the state to do.
Right. So, through this whole process, Achieve Hartford has been there, in the person of me.
Trying to capture what's happening.
Exactly. And there's a good reason for that. And so that was the other part of this update that we just wanted to share with the audience out there and folks watching. Just why are we covering what the parents at Clark are doing? Why are we covering the superintendent? What's happening on that? We send out a weekly newsletter, keeping various people informed of what's happening. We cover all of the Board of Education meetings, but there's a real critical role that we're trying to play here in the city of Hartford. Just
absolutely
one in keeping you informed. That's just a basic need of information to get out to the community of just exactly what's happening, the state of their schools.
Yeah, and I think too, I think we should probably provide an update on what we've been writing about too in the last couple of weeks. I mean, the parents at Clark have, been not happy with the limited number of options that they feel they had in the process of finding a turnaround partner. But their SGC had voted 10-0, principal, teacher, parents, all saying we want one plan, and it was the Friendship Charter School plan. And, they made a decision, and, we're not, we're not all about charter schools. Some people have problems with magnet schools. We're neighborhood schools, charter schools. We're all about good schools, and that allows us, I think, to form an opinion on what's good and what isn't good. And so when folks say, well, if you're angry at how the Clark process has played out, if you think that there's been some real pushback from unions on parents, then you're not objective. And we always tell people we're not objective. We're very parent focused. Our whole mission is to help the school improvement be sustainable, and you can't do that without the parents. You can't do that without the community. And so when parents get I think, pushed around, manipulated a bit, we're not happy about it, whether it's the state doing it or whether it's union folks or other people who are trying to wage a much larger kind of ideological battle around education. So we're trying to submit updates on Clark on what's happening, and we are biased towards parents and what they want. And so it's been great to watch parents hold a press conference trying to get the state to intervene, to see them at the State Board of Ed meeting. I don't even think the Board of Ed has a real role in Clark, but they were there advocating. It's been pretty powerful to watch parents come together and push for something. They came to a decision and they voted on it, and now they're looking for some support. So we report on it, but we are biased towards what parents want because we feel like they are the key in sustaining any of this work. So.
Absolutely. So
Clark, so there's going to be a meeting on Tuesday.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A Board of Ed special meeting. We're told nothing's come out yet, though, on email, and it has to come out 24 hours before.
Right.
So folks who are on email and get the updates from the Board of Education, look for a meeting time and place. I assume it'll still be at 5:30 at Simpson Waverly, where the budget workshop was going to be. But it's going to be a vote on Clark on whether or not the school district will submit a formal request to the state to intervene and impose the plan, because they did not have the entire turnaround committee voting.
Consensus.
That's right.
Although, just to reiterate, the school's SGC voted. They voted for friendship.
They did.
That was very clear.
10-0. So
Yeah.
you had kind of the school community supportive, but then on the turnaround committee, which includes the school community, I mean, you've got district, you have teachers, you have parents of the school, but then you also have a union representative.
Right.
And he was the one who voted no, and because it needs consensus, that kind of threw everything into a tizzy, which is why the parents have been so vocal.
Right. Right, and really pushing for it, and it, what parent doesn't want the best opportunities and options for their child, and so that's how this is really playing out. So, I think it's critical that everyone has the right information about what's happening at Clark, because at the end of the day, it's about parents wanting those options. And unfortunately, Clark has not seen those kinds of options.
Right.
And I've lived in Hartford all my life, and just so in my lifetime, Clark has not seen those options, and that's what we're really talking about here.
And I want to add one thing on this, and I know we're kind of running long on this one issue, but this may sound a little bit disparaging towards the school district, and Lord knows a lot of folks there aren't necessarily fans of Achieve Hartford when we're critical of them, but. They haven't been able to produce at Clark, what those kids need. I mean, they've got, a really great special needs program that is a program that attracts kids from all over the city, and I've heard, pretty good things about that, and I know that the parents want to make sure that that's not touched.
Right.
But just in general, I mean, they haven't gotten it done, and so I think that what we're seeing play out in the city is somewhat of a debate around, is it about more money just going to the district so that they can kind of figure out it? Do they have the expertise, right? If it's about more money going to them, I think the question that the average person has to ask is, well, is that going to change anything?
Right.
Right? I mean, they poured a ton of money in redesign into Burns, into Milner, into Betances, into MD Fox initially, into Sand, into Hartford Public High School. So, I mean, there's, you have to, as a resident, you have to question whether or not your district has the ability to just do this on its own, right? And I don't care if it's friendship charter schools or a non-charter school partner, but this idea of bringing in some outside expertise, I think to us sounded like a smart idea, but I think that the battle for Clark has been more than, is this a good idea, or
Right.
is this going to be good for kids? I think it's been more like, is this going to disrupt something in the city? Is this going to be a precedent for throwing more money to outside operators? I mean, I hear that. I know that that's the issue at play. So it's just the average resident should be understanding what's going on and having their own opinion about it.
That's
like,
right.
Like we do. So.
Right. We're going to move on because we do want to.
That's right.
We don't want to keep you long out there on this update. So, but there is a very important topic that we also need to get to, and that is the Superintendent Candidate Forum. There is a superintendent search going on. As you all know, Kishimoto is no longer going to be the superintendent after June, and we have to find another superintendent. It's critical for our district that we find a superintendent. So that process has been in full swing. There are finalists.
That's right.
And next Wednesday, there will be a candidate forum where the community gets an opportunity to hear directly from those finalists. So again, Achieve Hartford is a part of this process on behalf of the Superintendent Search Committee.
Yeah, very honored to be asked to participate in this way. So.
Yeah. We are hosting 3 forums, for different parts of the community to come out, but the public at large is invited to the evening forum, 6:30 to 8:30, Wednesday, April 16th, at Capital Community College on the 11th floor in the auditorium.
It is next Wednesday at 6:30 at 960 Main Street. Please be there. You can submit questions.
Yes, to events@achievehartford.org.
Or give us a call.
Yeah.
860-244-3333. Submit questions. We're going to code the questions based on the 6 priorities of the school board, and then we're going to push them up to them, and they're going to vet the questions. And we'll be the ones there to just spit out your questions to the candidates, and you guys can see how they respond. So.
Exactly. So it's a perfect time to get involved because, not every town conducts their superintendent search this way. So you actually have an opportunity to ask a question and hear how the candidates answer it, and it's important. So.
And if you're there, then you'll have a chance to rate the candidate on 6 areas as well. So
yeah. But the idea is that we will have a superintendent. Our board chairman, Richard Waring, stated that publicly, that was one of his priorities, that we will have a superintendent for July.
What could be more important, right?
Yeah. So and the next Hartford's next phase, Hartford's next opportunity begins with who the superintendent is.
Absolutely.
So please come out. Again, call us, email us if you have any questions. Post on Facebook, Twitter, follow us if you want to have more information just about the process in general. But we would love to have you there. That's right. On the 16th.
And know that the educators have a forum earlier in the day, and kind of a lot of business folks maybe driving into the city have an opportunity to do an early morning forum with candidates at 7:30 a.m. But this night forum is the one that we're really hoping to have great turnout on and make sure that the average resident has a voice in the process. So very excited to help facilitate this.
Yes, excited. So that's your education update for this week. We'll be back again next week. In the meantime, if you have something that you want to know what's happening in the education scene here in Hartford, definitely shoot us an email, nmccauley@achievehartford.org, P. Holzer.
P. Holzer, info@achievehartford.org, or just pick up the phone, 860-244-3333. Thanks for all your feedback.
And we'll see you next week.